Mr. 360, Victor Oladipo.
Oh, wasn't that his 540 this one?
Yeah,
and people convinced it was 540 during the contest for sure.
Yeah.
Because he finishes backwards. Wow.
Yeah.
The sports leagues of the world are filled with legends, both past and present. And most people want to see their legends go out on top and not overstay their welcome, like John Elway after his second Super Bowl win, or Mariano Rivera after he cemented his place as the best closer in baseball history. But for some superstars, the desire to keep playing long past their prime hurt them in the end. This goes especially in the NBA, where many legends have tried to hold on to their greatness long after it was gone. Allow us to show you 8 former NBA stars whose careers ended terribly. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Gilbert Arenas. We're going to start and end this list with the Wizards, but these two endings couldn't be further apart from one another. Gilbert Arenas was known as Agent Zero, and he was one of the biggest players in Washington Wizards history, even signing a major contract with them after proving his skills. But then, in 2010, Arenas was suspended for storing an unlicensed but unloaded gun in his locker and drawing it on teammate Javaris Crittenton, a guy who also got suspended for gun issues in the locker room. The suspension was for the rest of the season, but since Agent Zero had played 32 games already, the suspension lasted 50 games. When he came back, he honestly wasn't the same. He went from being Agent Zero to basically being worth zero. And that gun charge didn't help him seem like a great guy. Arenas became someone the league honestly wanted to ignore. Number 7. Brandon Roy. Right off the gate, Brandon Roy was one of the best shooting guards in the league. In his rookie debut, he scored 20 points against his hometown team, the Seattle Supersonics. He would then go on to average double figures in his maiden season. For this, Brandon Roy won the Rookie of the Year award. Roy's rookie numbers were impressive. He averaged 16.8 PPG, 4.4 RPG, 4.0 APG, and 1.2 SPG. Roy's sophomore season was even better with 19.1 PPG, 4.7 RPG, 5.8 APG, and 1.1 SPG. It appeared to many that Brandon would be the Trailblazers' franchise player. The problem? Roy's knees gave out on him. He had these problems back in college, and they seemed to be resurfacing. On April 11, 2010, Roy had a knee injury that would be the beginning of the end to his promising NBA career. An MRI showed a meniscus tear. Roy was able to come back that year for some postseason heroics. But it wasn't meant to be. Roy retired in 2011 due to persistent knee issues. He made an attempt to come back in the 2012 to 2013 season with the Minnesota Timberwolves, the team that drafted him. The comeback was short-lived and lasted only 5 regular season games. It's sad to see this with players. And yet, sadly, it's an all too common story. Many legends and what-if players have had leg and knee problems, and even the greatest ever have had to work on their knees to keep going. Roy's tale is tragic though, no doubt about that. Number 6. Steve Nash. You might think that we're limiting this list to just superstars who fell from grace or never got to their full potential, but no, there are legends and Hall of Famers on this list as well, such as 2-time MVP Steve Nash, who announced his retirement in March 2015. The 40-year-old had a long career, but his time in Los Angeles was a complete disappointment. Nash could not stay healthy. He was limited to just 65 appearances over 2 seasons, 164 possible games. Los Angeles paid a king's ransom to acquire him from divisional foe Phoenix in 2012, shipping 4 draft picks, including 2 first-rounders, to the Suns, and signing the point guard to a 3-year, $28 million deal. Obviously, the Lakers' brain trust still thought Nash had a few high-level seasons left in the tank. They were wrong, and the team suffered for quite a long time as a result of that. It didn't tarnish Nash overall, as he made the Hall of Fame and then some, but it was not how the former 2-time MVP deserved to go out of the NBA. Number 5. Jay Williams. People know Jay as a basketball analyst for ESPN. Before that, however, he was a collegiate star in Duke, and was hailed as the savior of the Chicago Bulls. While Jay was no Allen Iverson in terms of rookie impact, he still posted solid rookie numbers. He scored 9.5 PPG, 4.7 APG, and 1.1 SPG. Jay was inconsistent during his rookie campaign, but his high basketball IQ still shined through. Jay's first season in the NBA would end up being his last. Jay crashed his Yamaha R6 motorcycle into a streetlight during the offseason. He ended up with multiple injuries that effectively ended his career. He damaged a nerve in his leg, suffered a fractured pelvis, and dislocated several ligaments in his left knee. Riding a motorcycle violated Jay's contract, and he was fortunate that the Bulls still paid him out. He tried to make 2 comebacks later on after healing up, but it didn't work, showing just how easily a career, especially a potentially great career, can be derailed by a bad decision or bad luck. Number 4. Yao Ming. Chinese center Yao Ming made every inch of his 7'6" presence felt during an impressive career with the Houston Rockets. The number 1 overall pick in the 2002 NBA draft scored 19 points a game, pulled down 9 rebounds a night, and single-handedly helped make the NBA a big deal in the world's most populous country. Yao was an 8-time All-Star and dominated his position during the 2000s. Sadly, he was forced to retire at 30 due to an injury. Not unlike Brandon Roy, his legs gave out on him, and his feet were constantly getting worked on and repaired. It eventually became too much to bear, and he bowed out. He became an ambassador to the league afterwards, and did get into the Hall of Fame, but had he stayed healthy, he would have been even greater. Number 3. Len Bias. Earlier we talked about great what-if questions in the NBA, but one that still haunts the league to this day is that of Len Bias. Bias was a star at the University of Maryland, and when he went to the NBA draft, the Boston Celtics dealt big to get him. And Red Auerbach himself said that he waited 3 years to get his kid and bring a new energy to the aging Celtics. But he never stepped foot on the NBA court, because not long after being drafted, he did some cocaine with friends in his dorm room, and it caused him to have a heart attack and he died from it. We'll never know how he would have been in the NBA, and that's a tragedy. Number 2. Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is by and large one of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA, period. He came in red hot and helped the Lakers win the title in his rookie season. Then he helped bring the NBA to new heights via his rivalry with the Boston Celtics legend Larry Bird, and won 4 more titles along the way. And he could have kept going, but then he got AIDS. You have to remember, in the 1990s, AIDS was considered a death sentence for many. So when Magic Johnson got it, he had to retire. But then he went and unretired later because he learned that he wouldn't transmit it, as long as he didn't bleed on anyone in a major way. But when he attempted to return, the NBA locker room swirled with rumors about how infectious he was. And after a pregame incident, Magic realized he lost the trust of everyone, and thus retired again. Obviously, with the knowledge we have now, we know he could have kept going and been fine. And he's been an all-time great analyst and NBA personality after his second retirement. But going from the most loved player in the NBA to someone that no one wanted to touch? Yeah, that's bad. Number 1. Michael Jordan. If you recall, Michael Jordan had 3 different endings to his career. After the first three-peat, after the second three-peat, and then his time with the Wizards. To his credit, he didn't come back out of vanity. He came back because of the events of 9/11 and wanted to give Washington something to cheer for and believe in. He even brought back in his old coach of Doug Collins to help him and try and bring some true magic to the Wizards. On one hand, he did go and make a splash, and the Wizards were the second most watched team in the NBA during his time there. And he wasn't a slouch despite some injuries. The problem though was that while he was still good, his team really wasn't. He didn't have the support system that he had back in the Chicago Bulls, and as a result, he didn't make the playoffs of any of the years as a Wizard. Many wish, despite his charity, that he just stayed retired because they'd prefer not to think of him as a Wizard, but as the Bull and GOAT. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the greats of the NBA who had it all, or could have had it all, and yet decided to keep going despite there being nothing left to prove? Which of these tales do you find the most tragic? Which ones do you feel speak to how legends don't want to go away or make bad decisions because they think they can get away with it? What other NBA legends or superstars do you feel could be on this list? Let us know in the comments below, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.